is back. If you're going to park here, if you're here a student or faculty during the day, this is an area where you would be expected to park. This is another significant or main entrance. We'll talk a little bit about Main Street and what that means in just a second. But the buses would continue to come, the parent drop-up would come through, go this way, and go all the way back out. So one of the benefits of this is that it creates an opportunity to significantly increase the on-site queuing to get the cars onto the site and get them off of the highway. The buses would be able to come through here, do a turnoff, and come back out. They also could go through and go back out this way, and that's an operational question that will ultimately have to be worked through. But another benefit we see of this arrangement is to significantly take the traffic load out of the neighborhood and keep that again onto the site. So that's a quick overview of the site plan. This is giving you a level or a picture of the floor plan of the building. And right now there's an area of the building right here that's 2 levels that's existing middle school. This is 1 level that's existing middle school. This area is a proposed district office space because currently the district offices are included as part of the middle school. When we renovate the middle school will be utilizing that as educational space, not as district administrative office space. So there'll be a new proposed area here, and then all of the existing district office space will be renovated into educational space. This area right here, okay, is what we call the shared core, and this brown spine throughout the building is what we're calling Main Street. And that's a real significant concept in terms of how we've developed this plan and working this through with the school district. And Main Street is really the center or the heart of the building. And the idea is not just to have the educational function and have that as an educational heart of the building, but also as a community use aspect. So these core facilities, the gymnasium space, the green represents dining, cafeteria, kitchen space. This is the theater, auditorium area right here. This is the library, media center. And this is the district, this is the administrative offices for both the middle school and for the high school. And the whole idea behind the shared core is to be able to share some of these spaces. For example, if you had a conference room that would be used in the administrative suite, you could share that conference room, okay, save some money by not having to duplicate that in 2 specific spaces. And there's numerous opportunities throughout the building. For example, come back. In this area right here, where we have the kitchen, we only have 1 kitchen, okay? It's a little bit larger, but it's smaller than what it would be if it was 2 separate kitchens. So again, we're able to reduce the square footage of the building, increase the efficiency of that space, and attempt to reduce costs. And then finally, this area right here is a 3-level academic area for the high school academics, and we'll get into some of these plans in a little bit more detail as well. So this is an overview, again, as I was explaining, of the middle school. The blue areas represent classroom spaces. The pink areas represent special education or special needs spaces. This area right here is the middle school portion. And there's a separate middle school and a separate high school entrance to this building. The notion is that there needs to be a sense of identity for middle school students, middle school staff, the same as for the high school. And there is separation in terms of how this building is set up so that we're not going to have a situation where, the high school and the middle schools are constantly, running into each other. There are areas, okay, well that will happen along Main Street, and we'll talk about that. But those areas are very public areas, and it's an area, okay, that's generally under supervised. It's a supervised area. This is the nurses suite. This is actually a shared core area as well that's going into the existing middle school building. These are the proposed art rooms. And then this is the 2nd floor, which would be set up as a 6th grade academy. So it's a transition grade, a transition space that's somewhat separated from the rest of the middle school and the high school. Separated but still close, so it's a transition grade as kids start to enter the middle school. This represents the academics in the academic area in the high school. 3 floors, so actually the middle floor, if you will be at the same grade as the current middle school, and then you would go down a floor. The reason that we go down a floor to get to the lower level is to work with the slopes and to work with the grades on the site rather than try and fight those. It's a more cost-effective solution. And then when we've got two in place, it makes sense to be able to go up to the third floor as well. So you're actually really only having to go up one and up and down one. In terms of areas, blue again represents classrooms. There are science labs, okay, in this area right here. I know that's been a significant issue in terms of not having enough of those types of spaces in the current facility. Those have been significantly improved and upgraded, and we'll get into some slides there. This is a pretty exciting space that we call the Distance Learning Lab. It's a group learning, a collaborative area that has a lot of technology features built into that. So it's an area where you could go and do distance learning with other communities, other countries. It's an area where you can have presenters come in and speak, you know, all kinds of different opportunities with that. One other feature here is that we have some significant collaborative space, and as the superintendent was describing, one of the things in terms of 21st century learning opportunities, it's not just a situation where everybody goes to their classrooms and you do math and you do science. What we're really trying to focus on here is to be able to integrate those different disciplines and have the science groups talk to the math groups, because once you get out of high school, there's an opportunity that's part of, you know, learning as you get into the college level, as you get into the real world out there. You have to have those two disciplines starting to talk. It's not just science, it's language talking to science, it's language talking to math. All of those things have different applications. And we're trying to bring those types of programs together in these collaborative areas. Again, just a quick overview of shared core. This is the gymnasium space, and I have a separate slide coming up on the gymnasium, so we'll focus on that in a minute. This is the art space right here, high school, middle school, media administration, media center again, auditorium, dining. And then down below, okay, this level, this would be the main level. Going down one level, you walk in the door and you walk down into the auditorium space. And you'll see a slide of that coming up. We have band, chorus, and a number of different spaces downstairs, whereas gray is custodial and mechanical. In terms of the gymnasium space, there's been a lot of discussion, a lot of focus, a lot of attention hopefully paid to this in terms of you know, the ability to maximize or optimize the amount of space that we have and still work within the general guidelines that the state has provided. Actually, we were successful in getting about 6,000 plus square feet beyond what the MSBA guidelines in terms of being able to present how the PE program and how the community use factors factored into defining the space. But here we have in this kind of lighter yellow or orange color, that's a competition court. So the idea behind that is that along this wall right here, we have retractable seating for about 1,000 that would pull out. And so if there was a varsity girls game or basketball, boys basketball game, it would be played on this lighter court. During times when we don't have a competition event, the seating would be retracted back. And then these dark lines here represent two full-size regulation courts that would be divided here. And there's potential for seating along this wing and seating along this wing so that you would be able to have two active full court games going at the same time. So youth leagues would have that opportunity. It can be divided this way, it can be divided this way. We have a total of 14 backstops in there, so there's a lot of flexibility that's built into that space. In this area right here, we have a weights and fitness area. We also have a PE alternatives for things like dance and wrestling. These spaces would be designed and set up with different types of floors to accommodate those types of spaces. It's something that right now you don't really have in your program, but it's something that, you know, discussing this with the administration, something that you want to grow more into. And this gives you the flexibility as well as, you know, trainer space, AD space. Separate middle school locker rooms, okay, for the middle school students. Separate high school locker rooms for high school students, as well as separate team rooms. And then health classrooms adjacent to that. This just gives you a little perspective of the before and after. This image right here gives you a sense of your existing science lab. This is an existing picture of about 822 square feet to where what we're proposing, okay, is about 1,440 square feet. Again, consistent with the state guidelines, just having that space and the ability to provide a flexible learning environment gives students a tremendous opportunity, okay, to do a whole bunch of different things that currently they're unable to do. We would be bringing in, you know, modern equipment, obviously, in terms of, you know, gas and utilities and, you know, the right type of ventilation in all of these spaces. So I think not only just having more of these spaces, but higher quality in these spaces is going to provide a lot of opportunity. Similar type of diagram in terms of just a typical classroom. And again, you know, here's a before and here's an after shot. One of the themes in terms of design today is to bring natural light into the classroom. There's a lot of studies out there that show that having natural light in a student or an educational environment enhances learning, enhances overall scores. So it's something that we really do try and do. This is being pursued as a Lead for Schools project. You know, one of the requirements as part of that program and what we're targeting right now is that 90% of all of the spaces within the building would have some type of natural light available to them. Similar type of slide talking about the Library Media Center. Again, where you currently are and some of the opportunities on some of the other schools that we've designed. And it gives you a perspective. This is a combined number. So this takes the current middle school plus the current high school media space, combining those, and then the yellow there is what would be proposed. Oops. This is in the high school. This gives you a perspective of you know, what this might look like in third dimension. Again, this area right here, these are typical classrooms, again, on the perimeter of the building so that we can get light into those spaces. Separate teacher planning areas, toilet room facilities, and then this is that collaborative space, again, that I was talking about. So if you want to have breakout sessions from, you know, the different classrooms or separate work projects, that's something that space is contemplating. Typical classroom space. Little discussion here about science lab and the flexibility that's afforded by these science labs, because sometimes you're in a teaching environment where you're having more of a lecture type situation, which is reflected in this type of setup. Similarly, you could be in a lab type of setup. These tables right here are all flexible furniture, so what it is they move. You can very easily go and move those, and they would tie right in these peninsulas into the lab casework on the side. And this allows the students to be able to do the experiments and to be able to have access to the required you know, utilities that would be on the side. And then depending upon what happens in the curriculum during the day, they again could be very easily moved back into a lecture type setting. Just a quick look at what we're talking about with the auditorium. We haven't obviously fully got this figured out yet, but in terms of the basic schematic diagram, you would be coming in off of Main Street and you would be walking, whoops. Walking back down towards the proscenium and towards the stage to that lower level. There's adjacencies that are provided here for the band and the chorus. So those rooms are actually in behind the stage. So during you know, some type of play or a band or chorus production, they don't have to traipse all the way through the school and go to different places. It seems to be well thought out. And also we have a theater design and a wood shop technology lab, again, to be able to provide set designs. Now it doesn't seem to, there we go.
So this just gives you
a little bit of a 3D perspective of the entire building, starting at the front of the building. Right now we're looking at the cafeteria and up high on Main Street. Again, a very central theme is to have glass up on high in the building to be able to get natural light. This is that rear entrance from the parking lot going back down into Main Street. This is the new connecting corridor, okay, that connects one connecting corridor to the middle school over to the art wing.